What is going on, everyone? My name's Andy and welcome to another FPL video before Game Week 5. Obviously we've had a few already, a couple of streams here and there, but there's a bonus video for Friday night which I don't usually do, but I've hit the wildcard. My wildcard is now active. Yes, it's late, but better late than never, I think. Obviously I hit it last night actually, not long after the stream, probably about an hour or so after the stream, knowing that players like Zaha might not play. Obviously didn't have Walcott news. It looks like Walcott's going to be okay now, but I don't think I hugely regret making or hitting the button because of that. So I'm just going to go through what the old team looked like, who I considered that I needed to get rid of, who I'm looking to bring in, kind of why I've hit the button after all this time. I'm going to try and go through each team one by one, so you'll probably hear some clicking. I'm not going to split the clips and then add them in later. I'm just going to do it all in one, hopefully, and get this video out to you as soon as possible, because obviously there's not much time before the Game Week 5 deadline. I know a lot of people are interested in what I'm doing. A lot of people want to mock the decision, so we can get into that. So let's kick off with the old team. So this is the team that I had going into Game Week 5 before any transfers were made. Obviously you've seen it a few times now on streams and previews and stuff like that. So just quickly running through, obviously I did say on the stream last night and in the videos, I didn't think I 100% needed to wildcard. The reason I went for it in the end is because I don't know if I ever will 100% need to wildcard. Obviously the aim is not to have a really bad team. Yes, there'll be fixture swings in the future. But again, this season, like last season, the way FPL have priced players, I think it's always going to be a difficult decision on when to do it. Because there's no super cheap options necessary. I mean, they might come to the forefront possibly in the future, but because you've always got like Mane similarly priced to Ali and Eriksen and stuff, you're not right until right at the end of the season maybe going to be able to get all these players in, especially when you've got a premium defence. So I figured I had enough problems. Walcott, we still don't know 100% if he'll play. Apparently he's available. Doesn't mean he'll start. Zaha, again, I don't know if he'll start. It looks quite likely, but again, not 100% sure. King, okay, it's an okay fixture. He's on penalties, and obviously if he does get a penalty then it'd be quite frustrating, but stats wise there's other strikers around his price doing much better, which you'll see in a second. Bailly needed to go. Mkhitaryan, I don't know if he's going to start. Bench wise, okay, goalkeepers doesn't hugely matter, I don't think. Peltier and Stevens no good, although again they're on the bench, wasn't expecting to play them. So I think there's about 4 or 5 players that I definitely could look at getting rid of, and also I'm using it as kind of a chance to maybe get ahead of some people. Obviously players like Hazard and stuff are 21% owned already, but that's still much lower than the likes of Mane. So we'll come on to Mane in a minute. I don't know if I'm massively confident about that one, but you'll see the teams in just a second. So that was the old team. In the end decided there was enough stuff to go on to make those transfers, and hopefully I'm set up for a good few weeks going forward. And obviously I will need to make transfers as it goes on, as is the way with FPL, but I'll try and adapt to that. And obviously I won't have the wildcard now, of course, but I'm going to have to play with that now. And I think I'm going to do okay when I show you the team. So I think these are the guaranteed players. So these are the players that I'm going to end up having in my wildcards. There's quite a few different spots there. So Patricia and goal, I think Wolves look pretty good defensively. Obviously something to say for the wildcard in general right now. We've only had 4 weeks of data. That's not necessarily a whole lot to go on. I said on the stream yesterday, players like Mane, yes, they're going to regress. You'd think they're not going to keep up the shot conversion that they've got. It doesn't mean they're going to regress straight away. That could, take several game weeks to kind of, again, come to the forefront where he stops converting so many chances. He could convert for the next 2 or 3 matches and then go on a barren run. He could do it for the next 7 matches and then have the second half of the season be in the stage where he doesn't convert as many chances. So regression is all well and good, but obviously you don't know exactly when it's going to happen. But still, these are the players I've gone for. So up front, I'm pretty set on this front 3. I do like Ings as well. I think for 5.6 million he's a good option, but he's got a blank because he can't play Liverpool because he's on loan, and Chelsea at home in the next 4. So those next 4 fixtures are not fantastic. I think Mitrovic and Wilson are posting great stats, and not just stats-wise, but the eye test, I think they're passing with flying colours, to be honest. Every time I watch Bournemouth, Wilson's in that box getting forward, getting shots. Mitrovic is causing all sorts of problems for defences. So he's got Man City next, which is not ideal. But the fixtures after that Fulham are pretty good, and I think for 6.7 million he's going to provide value. Salah is the toughest choice, to be honest. I've looked at teams with Mane instead. I just think that Salah's going to continue being consistent. I'm going to captain him against Southampton. I'm going to want him after these 4 game weeks anyway. And obviously, With a wildcard, yes, I could take a punt and go for someone else instead, and then bring him back in. But that's just pre-planning a transfer. And I feel when I'm using the wildcard this early, I don't also want to pencil in loads and loads of transfers as well. So he's in. Højbjerg, 4.4 million, just because of his price, really. There's Danny Ward at Cardiff. Warnock's kind of come out and said that he's playing pretty well, and he's forming a partnership up front with, I think it's Bobby Reed. And so he looks good right now for 4.5 million. So I may put him in if I've got 0.1 million spare. Otherwise, Højbjerg kind of saves me 0.1 million, which I might need down the line. And then Hazard. So basically, I've almost gone Hazard instead of Mane, right? Hazard's got better fixtures. He's in really good form. I still think, though, his FPL points form is potentially flattering how he's doing. Like chances created wise, he's doing really well. I think he's created 10 chances, which is one of the highest for midfielders. And obviously didn't play the full first 2 games. But he's only had, I think, 3 shots on target and maybe 4 shots in the box, if my memory serves me right. So I think he's going to have to up that if the goals are going to keep coming. But obviously he is on penalties. You just need him to have that, I've said it a few times on videos this week, but that killer instinct to actually go for goal instead of becoming the assister. So we'll see how that happens. But 10.7 million, I know it's a lot of money for that. So I don't know if I'm hugely confident in him, but I know he's got the fixtures and he's got the form. So I'm hoping that's going to continue. And like I said, he's only owned by 21%. So only 1 in every 5 managers owners. I think with Cardiff at home, then West Ham. I think it's Southampton as well in the next run of 4. I'm hoping to just get ahead of the curve there. Yes, people have already bought him in, but I think the majority of people can't easily get him in without dropping Mane. The only thing that slightly worries me is if Mane does do something against Spurs, then he's got Southampton at home, so that then looks like a really good fixture. But I'm happy enough with Hazard, and I think at that price as well, not that I'm thinking of getting rid of him already, but that is a nice cushy amount of money to maybe bring in a different midfield or spread the funds around a little bit later on, maybe when I got 2 transfers saved up. I want to do a mini wildcard. So I'm happy enough with Hazard, but I do know there's a little bit of risk about getting rid of Mane for the next 2, but hopefully not over the next 4 in total. Mendy definitely stays. Alonso is one of the reasons I'm wildcard. I needed to get him in. I would have bought him in anyway this week, so obviously he's just part of the wildcard. And then Van Bissaka because he's 4 million. Now Robertson's gone. He's not guaranteed. I could bring him back in. I'll bring up my notes here because I was thinking about getting him in. I'll show you when I do the next team. Kind of who would have to bring in if I went for him. So 6 million is just a lot of money with their fixtures, but I do know that he's done really well, and even when he's not necessarily kept a clean sheet, he's got attack and return, so he's been very much like Mendy and Alonso. But with the team I'm trying to build, it's very hard to have those 3. And I don't know if 3 premium defenders is going to be something that we have going forward. So again, trying to get a little bit ahead of the curve, but again, I do kind of know that is a little bit of a risk just because of how well he's performing, and sometimes it is just right to go with the obvious choice, and right now Mendy, Robertson, Alonso looks like the obvious choice, so could be taking a bit of a risk there. Let's move on to the team. So you'll see these 2 teams I'm going to show you are very similar. It all revolves around David Silva basically. So I've got Bennett in, Hamer is my 4 million. I don't know about going Patricio set and forget just yet. Maybe get Foster or Fabianski in with him to rotate, but obviously that's another 0.5 million. I'm just hoping that Patricio is a quality keeper. Wolves have been doing pretty good defensively. That will carry on, and they got some nice fixtures coming up. But I never really want to make a goalkeeper transfer, so I'm tempted just to put in a 4.5 alongside him. And then Bennett is obviously saving me money at 4 million. I don't know how long he's going to keep his place, but I was reading about him today, and Wolves fans are really happy with him, saying he's kind of performing much better than they thought he would. And he's keeping, I think it's Den Donker out right now. And yes, that might not happen in the future. He might come back in, but I think when you got the likes of Mendy, Alonso, and obviously I've got Pereira in right now, Ricardo from Leicester, they're pretty much going to play every game, so I shouldn't need my bench too often. I know that's famous last words, but I've got Van Bissaka there, who I'm pretty confident is going to keep his place. So Bennett right now is kind of he's basically helping me put value into other places in the team. So that's how I'm lined up right now. Pereira in for Leicester. Leicester fixture run is about to get pretty good. I think he's looked pretty attacking, whether he's played on the right wing or if he has to come back to right back, he could be good. The other option is Chilwell for 0.1 million less. So I quite like actually on the eye test, but Pereira has been performing really well. So that's who's in for me right now. And then I've got David Silva. Now you look at David Silva's stats; they're not too far off Hazard for a lot less money. I think he's got more shots in the box and slightly more chances created. I could be wrong there. But he's played a few more minutes, but not much. I think he's only played about 20 minutes more than Hazard because he missed the first game. So I think David Silva, with the fixtures he's got Fulham up next, and then a good run of 4. I think the points are there for 8.5 million. I think he's been a little bit unlucky not to get them. So again, that's trying to get ahead of the curve and bring David Silva in and get those points. But it does mean that I've got to go for someone like Will Hughes. I think in this draft, apologies for not putting the in the bank money on the screen, but I think I've got enough money to go. I think his name is Jezel or Gezel, or someone in the comments tell me exactly how to pronounce it. The guy who's 5.3 million midfield at Leicester, Ghezzal. Now, he looked okay in the last game, and when I was reading reports about him, Leicester fans and the media writing about Leicester, I think he's kind of, they're saying like the next Mahrez. Now, I think that's going to be tricky given how good Mahrez was. But obviously, we've not got too many games for Leicester, at least, to watch, to go on how good he's going to be. So I could go up to him. Obviously, Kante's an option, but I'm really not a fan of that. Otherwise, there's not too many players around the 5. I think it's 5.3 million I've got to spend. So Hughes is in there now. Watford obviously got Arsenal and Man United in the next 3. The way Arsenal have been playing, I don't know if that's that tough of a fixture. Again, Watford, though, we've got 4 weeks of data. They've done really well. But you'd look back on previous seasons and say that's not going to carry on. But again, when will they stop playing well? Will it be the second half of the season when they start to tire? Will it be in the next couple of games? We don't know. But for 5 million, I think Will Hughes is a fairly good bet. Although, granted, there is a different way I could play this. And then just to talk about Robertson, for example, if I put Robertson into this team, then that means going for, instead of David Silva, going for someone like Fraser from Bournemouth. And it doesn't look like he's going to play this week, potentially. But obviously, he should be good going forward, hopefully. And then the other spot, Will Hughes could then become someone like Lingard or Maddison, who could then be placeholders for Richarlison, potentially. So could have Robertson, Fraser. And if Fraser was fit, I'd be much more tempted by that. So Robertson, Fraser, and Lingard, Maddison, or Richarlison in there. And then kind of the final team, which I've called the balance draft, because it's not got David Silva and a 5 million midfielder, is Pereira's still in there, but I've got Maddison and Lingard there. Now, I know a lot of people aren't going to like Lingard, fair enough, Man United bias, whatever you want to say, but I think he's posted really good stats in the last 2 games that he's played. He looked really good against Spurs, even though we got battered. United got a pretty good run of fixtures. Yes, it's Wolves and Watford in the next 2, who you could say have been performing really well this year. And again, they have. Now, I can't say anything against that. But we don't know if that's going to continue. Obviously, I've got Patricia in goal, so that's a little bit of a worry to get Lingard in. But he could potentially be a Richarlison template, like placeholder. Richarlison's not going to play the next game, then it's Arsenal. So it's the game after that I would maybe look to bring him in. And obviously, Maddison, again, like Pereira, Leicester's fixtures are turning. I think he's looked pretty good, although I do agree or can see the point of view that people have been posting on Twitter and Fantasy Football Scout and places like that he hasn't really got it stats wise. He's maybe been a little bit lucky with his attacking returns, but at the same time, I've seen Leicester play a few times this year, and he's also had a couple of good shots be saved really well by the likes of De Gea in Gameweek 1, and I think there was a decent shot against Liverpool as well, which got saved. Now, he's not shooting that often, which is a bit of a worry. But he's got a good run of fiction. I think he could tick over for 6.6 million. So they're kind of that's one of my more balanced side, Maddison and Lingard. And one of those two, like if Lingard performs and Maddison doesn't, then Maddison could become Richarlison, whoever. So I don't want to put too much emphasis on just bringing Richarlison back, but he did look good for the first couple of game weeks. So he's in my mind. Obviously, Pedro is there as an option too. I'm just worried about longer term that he's going to get rotated too much. I know a lot of people saying that we could see Hazard kind of take up the more maybe false 9 or central striker role and have Willian and Pedro flanking either side of him. And if that happens, obviously Pedro's posting really good stats, very similar to Hazard. Has been scoring points really well, so he could be a good option. But I just think while I'm wildcarding now, I can't take that risk on him. But I could bring him on in the future. He's 6.8 million, so the same as Lingard. So that is basically it for this video. That is how I'm shaping up on my wildcard. I'm sure you'll let me know in the comments below how bad you think that team is, whether you think I needed to wildcard. And I've had a few tweets about this. Again, my team wasn't in a completely awful situation, but I think I've definitely put an upgrade here. If I go for the David Silva draft, I've got Silva and Hazard kind of ahead of the curve. I know 21% ownership is not exactly a differential for Hazard, but 4 weeks in, overall rating, only 1 in 5 managers owning them. I think that's pretty good, especially with the fixtures got to come. Captain-wise, I'd still captain Aguero this week, I think, but Hazard definitely an option. So let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of the team in general. Have I got the right guaranteed players? Is it safe enough to go with Patricio, set and forget, and have Bennett in my defence? Maddison and Lingard or David Silva and Will Hughes, which do you think is better? Salah or no Salah? All these questions, obviously, I'm still trying to answer, but I'm fairly confident that I'm going to go for these guys. I may do a stream tomorrow morning. I'm putting this out on Friday night. I may stream on Saturday morning to kind of talk through my final decisions. I can't do it up until deadline because unfortunately I'll be out from about 11:15 onwards, so it'll have to be a bit early in that. So we'll see if I can get around to doing that. If not, consider this video the final one before Game Week 5. And the beauty is now, people, you don't have to hear me talk about a wildcard for a little while. I'll probably still do videos on wildcards because a lot of people will probably converge on wildcard at the same time, maybe at the next international break and stuff. So I can still do videos about them, what I would do. But mine's gone. You're not going to hear about the back pocket anymore. You're not going to hear me going on about it video to video. So that's at least one good thing for you. So I'll leave it there. Like the comment as always if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new around here. I will catch you soon. Loads of comments below. And I'll catch you later. Cheers all.